Today's video, we're going to talk about Google Ads results plateaued. Here's your option for getting your sales unstuck every single time. So for you guys that are advertising on Google, expecting to upload a basic campaign to your account, expecting the sales to go up forever from that basic campaign, whether you're talking about shopping or search campaigns or any other campaign type for that matter, you are going to have to do more physical action to get your sales unstuck. But who cares, because it'll pay for itself even after paying somebody to do this for you. Okay, so there's no reason not to do it no matter how lazy you are either or how cheap you may be, because it also will pay dividends for you if you implement these things in your business. Now, I've talked about on other videos before how if you have a campaign set up and you have the proper tracking set up, meaning you're tracking profit, not anything else besides profit, but profit itself, and your campaign's constantly getting feedback about what's working and what's not, you will scale the results from a campaign over time. It will slow down more and more and more every year, but it's very common at our firm that a campaign will legitimately scale for years and years. With the exception being small local service markets, where there's basically little to no competition, it won't really scale that much because there's not that much for the campaign to learn, for that matter. Because ultimately, when there's a lot of competition, Google rotates the ads out and decides if you should get shown or not based upon back history of your campaigns. But in a competitive market, your results will, that is your profit you're making from your campaigns, will typically scale for years, even if not 5, 10 years. Every year you could expect 10, 20, 30% more than you had before, even after 7 years of scaling up that campaign already. But with that said, if you want to scale quicker than what you normally would otherwise, or if literally are at your wit's end, if you will, of that campaign, it really is plateauing, you could do these simple things here and get your campaign unstuck. Some of these things you may have done, but I guarantee you haven't done all 12 things here. There's no freaking way. All stuff I've proven time and time again at our advertising firm to guarantee results for our clients, and this is how we do it. So for that matter, these are the things when somebody says to our agency, hey, how do we get results? And I got to guarantee the results before getting paid. I'm just going to this simple list here. You could just do this for yourself, or you could hire our firm, your choice, but the techniques are the same nevertheless. And for that matter, we'll go through what this list of things are and how to implement it. Before I do though, if you do not know who I am, just to lay it out formally, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in profitability, basically in excess of the management fees. We are the only agency who does that, which basically should tell you that the information on this video and channel is better than what you're going to find elsewhere. So for that matter, getting into it, these 12 things right here you could do to unplateau any campaign that's currently plateaued in terms of the sales and profit that it's making your business. So to go through what these are line by line, I'm going to start with adding more arbitrary keywords to your campaigns. Now, there's a lot of accounts where you will not make money with a fresh account just going after all the keywords in your space. So we had somebody who had a company who did grease recycling. If you have a fast food restaurant and get rid of the grease, there's companies that will pick that up because they'll recycle it, okay? In that particular space, there is people who search for grease recycling, okay? With that said, there's a lot of people who aren't looking for a grease recycling company, a formal one. They just want to know where to dump their grease, okay? And so in that particular situation, you can't just target grease recycling itself as a keyword because you won't make money, at least or unless you've racked up a certain minimum amount of conversion data in your account about not just what produces leads, but what produces sales/bookings, legitimate ones that turn into revenue producing events. And you rack up enough data in your account, you start by targeting the obvious terms when you have no data, grease recycling companies, grease recycling services, and the like. Then, when you've racked up a good 100 to 1,000 sales from your account, then you start adding keywords related to the arbitrary terms that some of the people are looking to just recycle themselves. Sometimes they're looking for a company. And you're able to make that profitable because you've trained the algorithm to understand the traits that the person that searches for grease recycling needs to have to be a real prospect. A certain location, a certain age of a person, a certain gender of a person, a certain income of a person, all of it. And thousands of other individual data points that they keep on their users. And so that your ads will finally work on those keywords, whereas they wouldn't have worked with no data racked up in your account yet, which is why it's super important to have conversion tracking set up in your account from the start, because half the value from your advertising spend from racking up the conversion data that you get on an ongoing basis. Half of it's from sales now, half of it is sales later through the acquisition of data that you can use to run future ads more efficient than you had before. So that's one way to get unstuck on a campaign. Another is monetizing info terms. So this technically, I would typically set this up in a separate campaign. So this is how to get unstuck from your account as a whole versus like, let's say just a campaign. But very few people want to try to monetize info-based searches in their market. So if you are targeting, let's say STD medication, you're selling this stuff, okay? You could target people looking for the medication by name, okay? This is a real market that we were in, which works great because if they're looking for the exact brand name of medication and you are the one selling it there, it's easy to monetize that. However, once you've done that, okay, you're plateaued out on that, why not start targeting people who are looking for how to prevent STDs, how to cure STDs, on and on, which if your medication does both, then you would advertise it as such. And then what we do in that case though, and the reason why people don't monetize these searches is because they don't know how to truly market anything. They know how to say, oh, I know there's buyers there. Here's my product. Do you want to buy it or not? No? Okay, I'll move on to the next guy. And that's, you can make some money doing that, but you won't make it all by any means, not even close. So what you do is you come up with a way to educate people. Through the education, you get their trust, and through their trust, you get them to buy. So what we would do, like with the STD medication company, is we would have what looks like news articles that talk about how to actually cure STDs. So somebody Googles how to cure STD, they see an ad that says, cure STDs in 24 hours, breakthrough new treatment method. They click that ad, they go to an article, which looks like an article on a news website. They read the article pitches a certain medication, and place where you could get the medication. You click that, you go to the landing page, and you buy, which the landing page they're going to is the same landing page that you use to promote people looking to buy outright from the other buying keywords. So you got a mechanism to drive in other traffic to the site through this intermediary, what we have as an article, but it could be other different types of landing pages. I call them pre-landing pages. So you're basically using a page to warm up the traffic and put a frame of reference around what you do. Once you've warmed them up, then they go to the actual landing page on your site. Very few people do this. And it may not work in every market, but most markets it will work. I don't care if you're selling windows. I don't care if you're selling tires. All of it basically will work across the board because everybody does some research in the market that you're in before they buy. Why not be there when they are? If they're looking for tires, they're going to be typing in what's the best tire. Why not have an article that looks like a newspaper article or magazine article that you take them to that talks about the new tire technology, and that if you want tires, you want this type of steel-baited belted radial tire here that just came out in the last year. And if you're in Dallas, given this is a Dallas publication, you can buy it at this tire shop and monetize that traffic too. So now that said, you monetize the easy low-hanging fruit traffic first. That is people looking for tire shops in your area, of course. You don't have to just settle for that. You can often make 2 or 3 times as much money or more. Sometimes it's 5 to 10 times as much money monetizing the info searches, depending on what you're doing, than just going after the buying traffic by itself. You have other channels. Okay, so the answer always isn't how do I get my Google Ads to scale more? Because that's the default thing everybody wants. How do I make, instead of 2 million a year, make 3 million a year with my search campaigns? And you can watch this channel and get a lot of good advice about scaling, but at the end of the day, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket either. You should be taking the money that you're making, and as soon as it gets too hard to make more money from that Google Ads account, you run a Facebook ad. Even if it loses money for a year, Eventually the algorithm's going to be smart enough about who your customer is and who it's not, and it will be profitable. And now you got a second channel going, so you have redundancy in your business. So if Google screws up, you're not out of business right away, which the most common way that I've seen people go out of business in the last decade plus running this firm is when they rely on one traffic source, particularly Google, and then Google screws up for them, whether it's Google paid or Google organic, they're out of business. You don't want to be that person. No one traffic source should be more than 35% of your sales revenue and profit to be safe, if you will. And then, but problem is, people, when times are good, they never think anything's going to go wrong. They spend all their money on, whatever, fast cars, whatever they're going to want to spend it on. And then once their sales take a hit, they don't have money to fix their sales by hiring somebody who knows what they're doing. And then it's too late. You screwed up. Better luck next time, buddy. Don't always just consider Google as the only option, even though people do that because they don't want to think too hard about selling. They want somebody who's already ready to buy and sell to him and only him, and that's it. And you are going to be in a tight position if Google ever screws with your campaigns. Whereas if you had other stuff going because you built these redundancies in your business, you wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. SKAG campaigns. So I've talked about these all the time on this channel because we use them on every client account we work with. That is single keyword ad group campaigns where you first of all, instead of finding 10 or 20 keywords to target, you target a few hundred, and each keyword gets its own ad itself so that you have the maximum click-through rate. And if you haven't done that, that's the easy, no-brainer way to get your campaign to scale more. Why? Because the single keyword ad group campaign with the keyword in the headline, and not just dynamically, but you handwrite the headline for every single keyword. You're going to get, if you do it that way, handwrite the ad, you're going to get click-through rates at least double, if not triple, what you're going to get with one generic BS ad for all your keywords. And that's just how it is. And if you don't believe me, I'll do it for you. And I'll say, you pay me 10 grand when I double your click-through rates, and I'll do it all day long because it's that predictable. But you also could do this on a location level, and I do this all the time as well. So if you're targeting nationwide, like for a national service company, set up a separate campaign for each state so that if they're looking for a speaker in Texas, the ad says speaker in Texas, not just speaker. It increases the click-through rate every time. For local services, you put the name of the suburb or county that the user may be in. Instead of just saying Dallas Metro, the click-through rate will go up every time. Landing page layout. Generally speaking, you could get a higher conversion rate on your landing page by rearranging the layout to a more ideal layout. It's hard to know how to do this if you've never made landing pages really before, but people that really know how to make landing pages, they made hundreds of them. They understand this. They understand how iFlow and tracking works on a page, how people, what they look at first and second, what do they prefer to see first and then second, and so forth. And they can lay the information out better, and you're going to get a higher conversion rate because of that. Most people, when they start out in business, they just think, oh, if the information's on the page, it's good enough. And I'll make just as much as if it's laid out perfectly, which is the dumbest idea ever. Which I was like that 20 years ago when I first started. Everybody's like that at the beginning. But then as you figure this out and you do more pages, you realize the layout is like the biggest factor of the conversion rate that you get. So you change the layout, you change the conversion rate, and business you're going to get from the same traffic you have coming in. Landing page offer. Some of you guys say, offer for a landing page? What do you mean? I already have my product or service on there. The reality is, you'll make more if you have an actual bona fide offer. So if you are a mortgage broker, you say, I guarantee you will get the best mortgage rate for your new mortgage through us. It will give you a $100 gift card for your trouble. That's a great offer that we've actually legitimately used at our firm for a client before in that market, and crushes not having a page without that offer on it. It crushes the results. We're getting 2 to 3 times the conversion rate on the traffic, depending on the keyword and traffic source, compared to just saying, hey, we offer mortgage services, contact us because we have great rates or low rates or whatever. Which you may not be able to do that, which, by the way, if you say that, very few people are going to come back for their gift card, even if you don't have the lowest rate, because they'll just assume you'll have it. But you come up with your own thing, and you come up with first 10 minutes for free or whatever. And you do that in conjunction with saying what you have to offer. You have that offer on there. Or you offer something and then you have a secondary offer. There's many times like when we're doing like church glass repair services, we have the primary offer, which is contact us for church glass repair. And then there's an ebook that says, want to learn how to do church glass repair yourself? Download this ebook. And now we at least got their phone number and email address, which we could call them up and say, hey, did you like the ebook? Did you have any questions about the ebook or what you're doing as far as your problem? We build some rapport with them and then boom, we got them locked down as a client soon after, which gets you more value out of the same traffic. So consider secondary or even tertiary offers on your page. Dynamic landing pages. So with SKAG campaigns, you cannot complain that you have not made as much money as you deserve to make until you've got custom landing pages for every keyword you're targeting, which in 95+% of the markets will make you the most money. So if they're searching for stained glass repair service, you have a headline that says stained glass repair service, not church glass repair, or vice versa. That's just an easy way to unlock an extra. On average, that in itself, by itself, the headline being matching the keyword and that what was on the ad will increase conversion rates by 40% by itself. That's it. And it's all you had to do. At least if you're talking about handwriting the headline, not doing some dynamic keyword insertion. Oh, Corey, can't I just use software to insert the keyword into the headline? I don't want to write a headline. Okay, fine, do it yourself. See what your results are going to be with doing it that shortcut way. Because everybody wants to shortcut all these systems. The systems that I talk about get the results that they do because they are quality. As soon as you start using automation so I don't have to do anything, the results go to shit. And then they complain that they don't get the results that I say you're going to get. Handwrite the headline. You'll make even more if you make not just the headline custom, but the rest of the page custom to the keyword, which generally speaking, I get it. It's a lot of work. But if you could double your conversion rates across the board, and instead of making 10 grand a month, you're making 20, is it not worth it to pay somebody a few grand to do this for you? How blunt do you have to be to just shut this idea down on the surface level just because it's going to be a little difficult to put it together at the beginning? You could do this by keyword and location again. So if somebody is in Dallas, then you want the page to say Dallas. If they're in Arlington, which is a suburb of Dallas, kinda, you want to say Arlington because that's going to increase the conversion rate. You could have on the landing page an area code and prefix that matches Arlington, and that'll get a higher conversion rate than if the number matches Dallas's area code and prefix. So, you can go as far as you want with this. Smart bidding. Smart bidding will beat manual bidding every time. It's been that way for more than a year now, 2-3 years basically. You can't beat manual bidding, or you can't beat smart bidding with manual bidding in terms of the total ROI and profit you can make from Google Ads. So, just to state the obvious, use it. And when I say smart bidding, not target, impression share, maximize conversions, maximize conversion value bidding strategy. Image testing, okay? So when you're talking about shopping campaigns, testing the image that shows up next to the product. You can do this through using a supplemental product feed, and you can override the item image that came from your website, so you can have whatever image you want on your shopping ad itself, and it doesn't have to be the same one on your product page of your website. Sometimes it'll convert better if you use a white background or a active background, or putting a drop shadow on the item, or not putting a drop shadow on the item, or rotating it 45 degrees, or not. There's so many little tweaks you can use there, but people don't want to do it because it takes time or whatever. And for that matter, it's actually really simple. If you think a drop shadow on your item is going to increase click-through rate and increase your profits, you do it on 10 or 20 items. You see if it works. And if it works, you do it on all the rest. You're going to get an immediate return on investment on your employees' time rolling that out across all your items when you know it works for 10 or 20. The same thing, by the way, applies to doing title enhancement, putting keywords in your title, especially competitor keywords, synonyms, words that describe your product, which gets you more impressions, as well as price optimization, adding a 7 or 9 to the ending digit on your prices, which generally increases click-through rate as well. But we're talking about image testing here. For your search campaigns, this means the image that you use on your image extension or image asset of your search campaigns, optimizing that so that it gets better results. For a local service company, for instance, showing somebody doing the thing is generally going to get the highest click-through rate. That is, if it's a roofer, you want to show a roofer pounding in a nail on a roof. If it's a plumber, it should be a guy underneath the sink, or unclogging a toilet or something like that. If it's professional services, it's showing the professional kind of like as I'm here, chest up. And there's different ones that work for different niches, but you got to find out what's that ideal one that works for you in your market. Ad offer testing. So what I'm talking about here is, like I talked about on the landing page, what is your offer for your ad? So if you are doing, we have the lowest price, so we're going to give you a $100 Outback Steakhouse gift card. You put that in the ad and you'll get a higher click-through rate because there's an offer there. Or you could say, air ducts cleaning, $199. And because other people aren't willing to put a price on the ad, therefore there's an offer there, they're going to go for your ad first. And so that's an easy way to get your click-through rates up as well, as is ad copy testing the language that you use. So the easiest way to get the best results out of Google Ads itself specifically is, as is other ads I should say, is using the AIDA formula: attention, interest, desire, action. You got to start with what are you going to use to get people's attention? Generally speaking, it's whatever they search for or whatever they're looking for. So if they're looking for church glass repair, you say church glass repair. Then you get into the I part of the formula, interest. You say get it fixed in 24 hours or it's free. Desire, 60 years in business. Action, call now. That's an example of how you actually put this together. It's something similar to what we've done in the past, but that's what I'm talking about here. Just like the landing page layout matters, the layout of the ad matters, and also what you put into the ad and how it sounds matters itself as well. So you could put an offer in the ad and test that, but also the ad itself is structured and the exact wordage you use can be another way to get your campaign unplateaued. And of course, better tracking. So as it comes to better tracking, this means, like I mentioned at the start of this video, you want to track actual profit. So many people ignore this to their own peril. If you want to get more profit out of your ad account, if you're not optimizing and tracking profit, how can you expect to get more profit? This is like a kid who complains and whines that he doesn't have any candy, but he hasn't done the thing that the adult said you need to do to get the candy. He just wants it, or she just wants it. We could sit around and want better profit from our ads all day long, but it ain't going to happen for us unless we do what actually is effective. The number one way still, at the end of the day, to get the most results out of ads long-term in a competitive market at least, is to track every dollar of revenue and profit that your ad produces, and you use it to steer your ads with the smart bidding, and the smart bidding algorithm goes to work for you and gets you more and more results out of your ads. And yes, you can track profit. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if you're a brick and mortar business where you're driving traffic to a physical location, which you could track sales through having a tripwire in store where you give them a 10% off their order if they go to a particular page on your website. You put a thing on in front of the cash register that says for an extra 10% off, go to xyz.com and put your name and email in, and we'll give you 10% off, which triggers a conversion on your Google Ads account. Or you're talking about you're a plumber and you're just generating phone calls, but you can actually see if the call turns into a sale, and then through something called offline conversion tracking, pipe in the sales data back into your ad account, and then now the campaigns can do something for you. It knows what produced results for you, and now it knows what to do more of in the future so that you can outbid your competition for people that look like they're going to be a freaking whale customer. Whereas when the tire kicker comes through, the system's smart enough to not have your ad show up for that person next time. But you can't have this happen unless you give it the data that you need for it to happen. It's really that simple. So until you've done the right revenue and profit tracking in your account for the system to utilize, you have no reason to complain that you aren't getting the results you want. Bottom line. For that matter though, there's a lot of little small details, all of this. The best bet for you, if you want to unplateau your results truly, is to subscribe to this channel as well, because I have all that information laid out for you on this channel. It comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm and been running ads for 2 decades now. And this is my full-time job, and this is all I do. And I spend my weekend sharing what works and what doesn't work at our firm on this channel. You should also check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. I got a fantastic blog on my site where I outlay the strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients as well. Furthermore, if you need some hands-on assistance, we, like I mentioned at the start of the video, offer a guaranteed service where we can tell you not only what you need to do to unstuck your results, but we'll actually go to work and do it and not take a payment until we get you the results. That is a lift in profitability of at least what we say we can get you, which will be offset by the management fees that we charge. And if you don't want to do that and you like managing your own stuff, we have ad templates available where you can, if we've worked in your niche market before, and we worked in hundreds of other niche markets before you having reached out to us, we can sell you the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work for your niche market, and you just copy paste those into your ad account and get the same results we did. We also, I personally offer coaching and consulting as well. So if you just want one-off questions answered, want to know what to do, want a list of things you can do, reach out to me at my firm. I'll do a call with you as well. But in summary here, these are the go-tos. If somebody says, I'll pay you $100,000, Corey, if you can double the profitability of my ad account. I'm just simply going to go here and say, can we do this? Yep. Can we do this? No. Can we do this? No. Can we do this? No. Can we do this? Yep. Can we do this? Given that the account has either done or not done these things already. And if they haven't done them all, we can make even more. And that's really how you should be thinking about putting in work for yourself on your own account. I could tell you that we've worked with a number of companies and we're so good at what we do that we'll take a piece of the revenue now from companies and we'll invest in those companies outright and partner with them. That is, you're doing $1 million a year now in sales. As long as we'll take you to 10 million. As long as you give us 2% of your revenue growth beyond $1 million a year, we'll do all your ads and pay for all your ad spend. Sound pretty good? Sign on the dotted line. And then we'll bring that company to 10 million a year, get 2% of the 9 million difference. And that's our cut for putting together everything we know what will work for that account and that company for them. We're looking for companies to invest in just like this right now. So if you're interested in having us partner with you, where it would be a bona fide equity partnership, we're going to do all the work on your ads, including spend on ad spend to get them kick started. Reach out to me at my firm as well. I also have a Discord group if you are interested in meeting with other like-minded people who watch this channel, who are doing the strategies that I talk about on this channel. Go in the description of this video and you can see the Discord link to the Discord group where you can actually do that. I also have a free PPC course there that I put together, which most people are charging for their courses. It's totally for free. I could charge for it, but I don't. I do that as a way to attract people to the group. And it's working very well. So ultimately, check that out if you're interested in that as well. But with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said click-through rate was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.